Does Austin want to take a shot?
Yeah, I think we should record that for the top of the episode.
What?
Let's do it a shot.
How does Ferris feel about that?
Gets up and leaves.
Fucking gin shot.
Okay. Today's episode is brought to you by Sky Vodka. It's
And Empress
blue.
gin. It's purple. wait. We should pour. Wait. We should pour it. Don't pour it yet. Don't pour.
Okay.
Don't pour. What do you have, Tony?
5 Saints white whiskey.
Whiskey, gin, and vodka is what we're doing.
3 vibes. The 3 horsemen of the apocalypse.
The 3 trapped tigers.
Oh,
The 3 trapped bulletproof tigers.
It's also a book.
is it?
You didn't know.
Today's episode is brought to you by Celsius. Vibe out.
And
Bitch.
DraftKings.
And DraftKings. And also Pizza Hut. And
Pizza
who
Hut.
else does these? Athletic Greens.
Athletic Greens. Hymns.
And Factor.
Help.
Yeah.
Factor. Yep. Factor. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Forgot about Factor.
Oh, all right, guys. Today's episode is brought to you by alcoholism. It's good.
Kamala.
It's better when
Today's
you do it with
episode-
your friends.
Today's episode is brought to you by Kamala Harris. Build back better.
That's what we're running on.
Is that her slogan?
I don't know, but it
Build
should be.
back better.
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
That was somebody's
that was-
slogan. I forget.
That was Joe's.
Was it?
Joe.
Build
Yeah,
back
yeah.
older. Or younger.
Build back. Build better back.
Big back is better
Big
than
back
build.
body.
Hey
Big back
guys,
Joe.
we're trying to change our lives, and we would love to get sponsored by a steroid company so that all of us could get fucking ripped.
We want to get
Just
roided.
huge.
We want to just
We're gonna get
destroy
roided.
ourselves.
We want to see who can get the biggest, the fastest. Tony already
And-
has the advantage because Tony is taller and bigger
Mm-hmm.
than Austin and I. But if I take twice as many steroids as Tony does, I feel as though I could probably die significantly faster.
This is true.
At MGM on who will die faster.
DraftKings.
Your first bet is guaranteed.
Cheers.
It's minus 500. Ferris dies first. Salud. My
As long
insides are melting.
As long as I die before the Sharks win a Stanley Cup, it's all good.
Yeah, you probably will. But let me go back to my office.
Okay.
Dude, you're not drinking in the office? What are you doing?
No,
I have my
I'm-
shit. It smells weird in here.
I don't have my life.
My fan is off.
Smells like bitch in here.
Tyler, the creator. I'm so glad he did that show. Loiter
Loiter
Squad.
Squad, yeah.
Yeah.
It smells like bitch.
Hey, you're that shirt.
my favorite part of that whole skit is like from the very beginning there's like one dude who just starts laughing immediately. Like it's like he just can't hold it together at all. He's just like
Immediately.
the whole time.
Yeah. And they just send it because they can't. There's no take where he's not laughing.
Yes. He's my favorite. He's immediately just like great.
That is canonically me.
Why are you here?
I laugh at everything. I'm a laugher.
It's my
Why you
mom.
got so many necklaces?
If you got jokes, I got laughs.
I burned my house down. Why? Because my mom wouldn't let me color.
Timeless.
Smell like bitch. I was sucking my daddy dick.
Fucking
I
hell.
was sucking my daddy's dick when I was 12.
God damn it.
Wait, we have time. Hold up. I need to see it.
Cox Internet. This shit bussin'. Good shit.
Cheers.
Yes, I can see you now.
We have it a second.
I not, but
Austin. This
Dude,
is what
it's
you
in the
started.
other
You have to
room.
finish what you started.
What the fuck?
All right, are you gonna wait a second? You gonna wait a
Are you
second
gonna
for me
go
to
fetch what I desire?
Yeah, but then I'm gonna have to. Yes. All right, I'll do it in there, and
Yeah.
then I'll come back in here,
You're gonna
and
feast
then
your little eyes. Huh?
and then eventually today we'll we'll record the
Yeah,
part
we'll
that's
start at some
important.
point.
Alright, listen, but we're just gonna
Oh
watch
my
this
God.
loiter squad up.
Yeah, play that shit.
Sit down. Not a word till we get back. Alright. So what y'all little bitch ass in here for?
I was caught sucking my dad's.
I was sucking my daddy when I was 7 years old. A field of them. Come here. Smell like bitch in here. All y'all smell like bitch to me. I would inflate an inflatable pool and fill it up with Sherman, get butt naked and oil myself. Welcome to my life. What the are you doing?
Just covering his face.
You're off. You should have been out of here 30 minutes ago. That's the janitor?
Dude,
Why
that
you got
fucking
so many
kid-
necklaces?
That fucking kid with his hands over his face. The best part.
You blame him?
Just immediately fucking loses it. Just can't keep it.
At the
Can't
start.
keep it together. I'm sucking my dad's dick.
Hey, fellas.
Hey! This is the real first shot. This we had to take 2.
Yeah, we definitely. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is the first one.
This is the first shot of alcohol we've consumed during this broadcast.
I've never drank in my life.
Cheers.
Days. Yeah.
I bought this
Yeah.
bottle like this.
I'll cheers to that. Ferris. Oh.
I'm gonna teleport back to my room. Here we go. Boop.
And then when you run back, hit the instant transmission soundboard.
Holy shit.
Well.
I did it! Right when you arrived!
That was great.
Oh, and my shit froze right after that happened. Are you an ope main? Or are you excuse me? Or do you
Depends on
are
the
you
locale.
a pardon? I say pardon.
I mean,
I'm a pardon main.
I'm an ope.
I think I'm a
my bad.
excuse me. My bad's a good one. I'm a excuse me guy. Excuse me. Excuse me.
We can read into this further, but I'm not going to take it there. This is a Northern Lion skit.
I'm gonna start saying, "Look at us, look at us."
Look at us.
Sony, what are we doing today, man? What are we talking about? What's going on? Why
Are
are
we
we
finally
here?
getting down to brass tacks here?
Dude. Yeah.
After
I
you've
don't
been
pay taxes.
delaying us?
Me?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I think
On-
this
on
is
the
the first
fly.
episode where Austin didn't have to fix their audio
Good.
when they logged in.
And so we have been, making up for that lost time
Mm-hmm.
by doing shots and watching Loiter Squad.
Oh, absolutely.
And just guys being dudes being bros.
And here we are to talk about some math rock, you know?
Goddamn right.
Rock.
And what other way than to review what seems like a very, very eclectic pick that not only covers the genres of math rock, but goes into something way, way further than even post rock or pop or any other kind of label, in my opinion. What we've seen, I think I had to learn a new term. What was it? Hypnagogic pop?
Hypnagogic pop.
Yeah.
A psychedelic music that evokes cultural memory and nostalgia. So they have an interesting blend of very eclectic styles, but somehow made its way to the math rock scene and kind of became a name that's been passed around, at least by fans of us. I think we had a comment asking us to review this album, so...
It was from Loby Mike. Loby_Mike. I just looked it up.
Hell yeah.
Shouts out, Loby Mike.
Loby Mike for requesting us to review this album. So, yeah. They're from Philly,
Oh, so
right?
they are from Philly. So before we do that, I just maybe people are interested. Hypnagogia is the transitional state from wakeness to sleep. It's also defined as the waning state of consciousness during the onset of sleep. So if you're curious about where the term means, where it came from, it basically means when you're like almost asleep but not quite.
But hypnagogic pop is something completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
But the word is still kind of interesting because I think if you listen to Palm, it does have like kind of like a trancey sound to it. It's like it's like droning, and like there's just like they use a lot of like repetitive rhythms, repetitive sounds over and over again, and they like modulate them.
Yeah, that's one thing I noted when I was just kind of like writing my basic thoughts about some of the songs. Like, it did seem hypnotic in a way, the way they like loop on itself. So it almost sounds like they're using a loop pedal, but it's really, I think it's just them like looping over and over. But it's like, it's hard to think about, and the more I think about it, the more I'm focusing on it, and it's like almost a hypnosis for like musicians.
One of the things that
go ahead. No, not this time. No. You, buddy.
No. I was just gonna say one of the things I like about Palm is like I feel like they're one of those bands that really knows how to milk a riff. Right? They just have this one riff and they just do so much with it. Whereas like a band like Between the Buried and Me, who is also amazing, is like we're gonna modulate the fuck out of every single riff. Like it's just gonna change all the time.
Yeah.
Palm is structured on like we have this one riff and we're gonna see like how many variations of it we can do in a song.
Yep.
Yeah, theme and variation versus riff salad.
Mm-hmm.
And
I really like
BT Bam is like riff salad supreme too. That's like, hey, we have 100 riffs. Can we make them all into a song somehow?
Yeah.
There was so much like dissonance that they were playing with too, in like those cycles, in those repeats of those like layers and stuff. And they're like building this tension, and then I just super love when the vocals come in, and it has a very clear direction. It has these very clear notes that you can grab onto, like these very like stable melody that kind of gets like repeated or something like that, or like varied on. Like that's what I feel like is the theme that like varies. I think, in my opinion, is like the vocals or like that like standout melody line, whether it exists in like the lead guitar or something like that. I feel like that's where it thrives the most, and the vocals just add such a cool like I want to say atmospheric, but I use that term all the time. Like it's like this whirlpool, like you're like spinning and spinning, but you can like hold on to this rock, and like this the vocals kind of guide you through the songs a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah,
just the ones that have stand out.
It feels, though, I like the way you described that. It feels to me kind of like a parent singing you a lullaby while there's bombs going off outside of your house.
And it's like a dream too, and you're trying to remember it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a crazy contrast of like cacophony almost, or like like straddling that line, and like you said, like really soothing, kind of lush, but still eerie, just based on the juxtaposition,
exactly,
kind of a thing. I don't know. I don't know that I love the hypnagogic label. Just like reading the definition, it says that it. When you describe it, I agree with it. But like when I read what the definition is, like I don't know that they necessarily evoke a ton of nostalgia for me. I feel like they're more.
Say they do either.
Art rock.
Yeah, I have the same sentiment. I also agree that it's hypnagogic in a way that it's like liminal. It's like between spaces, it's like exists between like sleep and awake. It like has this hypnotic feeling. Like I feel like it's hypnagogic in that way, and not really in the hypnagogic pop, like nostalgic or like evoking like cultural like popular entertainment of the past. Like I'm not like really getting that vibe from them.
I'm 1,000% with you on that. I really like that kind of description. I feel like it has that like being on mushrooms, waking sleep kind of feel.
Exactly.
Sure.
I would say that drawing back to like the sound of it, especially with how the vocals sort of layer into it, we can think of sort of bands like American Football and Pretend, who do sort of the same thing, right? Yeah, we're fucking killing it on the shirts today.
Oh, mine's
But,
a
like,
Melee shirt, but
That's
yeah, I mean,
adjacent
that's
in
pretty-
culture.
Yeah, it's adjacent in culture, but you have the pretend like the vocals are sort of just like this layered background to this very like lullaby sort of like thing going on. Um, I will also say in terms of the genre label itself, there is one song which I can't remember the name of right now, but I'll put it in the video. I'll like just like edit the title right there. That actually reminded me of the Beatles. And as soon as I hear it, I'll be like, oh, this was the song that reminds me of a Beatles song. So I think in some instances, it has that like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, like heavy chorus, heavy flanger sort of sound that was pretty big, like the Pink Floyd sound that was big in the late 70s, early 80s.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes I felt almost like it was like a really psychedelic section in like a Led Zeppelin song or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we come full circle here, and it is kind of hypnagogic pop in that way that it evokes that kind of nostalgia, just not necessarily a
yeah.
nostalgic aesthetic, right? It doesn't make you think of like cassettes and vinyl records and like, I don't know, Trans Am. It makes you think of like a random passage you heard on Echoes by Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
That's the aesthetic as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is I guess it's very reminiscent of the past in general, of where those things came from, and it's playing with those things, those like very unique elements of those like super like unique like bands in their sound print, using that like to kind of play with like artistically play with and make like their own like unique thing, which is like super cool. And I guess the pop label is the label that I'm struggling with. So it's like hypnagogic post rock or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I would call it pop. I say
You
it's
would call
kind
it
of poppy. Yeah, that's kind of poppy.
It also has been described as minimalist or minimalism. I'm not sure how much that describes this. Also avant-prog.
I would say
could see that
avant-prog.
one.
Minimalist? I don't know. It's like so lush. It has like so many sounds. And
I can see where they're coming from
But
with
it
that.
also
I don't
sounds
know
like
that I
live.
subscribe.
It also sounds live. Like they're just doing it, you know, like
That and like you guys were saying, like they know how to get a lot of mileage out of like one or two ideas. So in that way, it is kind of minimalist. But I don't know that I can fully get behind that label just because there is a lot happening within those couple of ideas. Like the ideas themselves are dense, so I don't know that I can subscribe to the minimalist label 100%, but maybe a little bit in the ethos and the songwriting kind of decision making, you know, is a little bit minimalist.
I will say, as someone who's seen them live, they sound exactly like the record. I was just like, okay, how are they going to make these weird sounds and like all of this stuff? And it was like an incredible experience. I was like, I don't even know. I'm like sitting there watching it. It's a small room. There's only maybe like 50 people there. And I was just like, this is insane, like what they're doing right now. So,
and it's a testament, I think, to how much they're willing to explore. Also in style and in instruments too, because I heard that they're not native like players of those instruments that they play in the band, and they really like to experiment on other instruments. So playing a guitar almost as like a noisemaker and less of a guitar as an instrument and more of a guitar, you know, as like this like abstract thing that like can produce so many vast tones to it, you know. It's like jumping inside of a piano and like having a mic and like scraping the strings and like doing these different things and like creating all these unique things to like layer, you know, and like add rhythmically. And like I think Palm is very about like finding a thing like and finding like a motif and then like running around with it and playing with it, but also not being like the focus, like letting other people like call and response almost and like play around with that. And
I like where you're going with this. I feel like this band sounds like if we launched all the instruments to be in a like rock band into space and some aliens found that shit and they were like, what the fuck is this? And they tried to make a record and then they shot that back down to Earth and everyone on Earth is like, this is really fucking weird, but I like it a lot. I like this shit a lot. It's alien math rock.
I could definitely believe that extraterrestrials made this album.
I think on that note, we all, when researching a little bit about Palm, of which we know very little, even after a couple hours of researching.
Yeah, they have like a few interviews, but it's not like a whole bunch we can find.
Pretty elusive group of people, it seems like, which is I respect. But one thing that stuck out to all of us, it seemed like, was specifically the drummer not being really, like you said, a native to that instrument. Like, he's a guitar player, or they're a guitar player. Mm-hmm. And when you really like think about it through that lens and you listen to this band, I can totally hear it. It's so like linear and like disjointed sounding, but kind of melodic in its sensibilities. It's definitely not as like, we're gonna build a pocket and ride that shit out. It's like, I don't know, you're playing something really weird on guitar. This is what I would play if I took the guitar tabs and translated it to a drum tab without changing anything.
Right.
Guitar players writing drums.
The
100%.
drummer Britt Walford from Slint is who he's inspired by.
That I could hear for sure. I could hear that for sure. Just with this band.
That for sure.
Yeah.
Should we start playing the album?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. Roll tape.
So I just love, like, this is this song Time Times 3. It's just an intro, a very angular intro, to set the theme of the album, and it really does serve as a great intro, kind of just diving into what would be this like very avant-prog, I guess, sort of experience.
You take the words out of my mouth. It's a fitting way to set the pace, to set the tone, if you will. Immediately angular and eerie and uncomfortable, but not scary per se, just like unsettling.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like early Pink Floyd stuff when they had, what's his name?
Sid Barrett.
Sid Barrett. Kind of stuff that they would do on those early albums.
I could hear that. I could definitely hear that.
Alright, so Palm, who is no longer with us because they broke up.
Disbanded on June 13th, 2023. So recent. It's a little recent.
R.I.P. So the band is composed of 4 members: guitarist Eve Alpert, guitarist Kazra Kurt, bassist Gerasimos.
Let's say Gerasimos.
Gerasimos. What's the last part?
Livitsanos.
Livitsanos.
Alright, there we go. I'm good on the Japanese pronunciations. Anything else? Fine. Don't ask me for anything. And drummer Hugo Stanley. From Philadelphia, where Tone is. And Eve, who is the guitar player, has made music with Kazra, the other guitar player, since high school. From what I understand, they're also high school sweethearts, right?
I don't know about that.
I'm pretty sure they are. Hold on.
I didn't read much about their relationship.
I'm pretty sure they actually were. I
know that a couple of them were roommates.
Right. At Bard College in New York, right?
Yeah, before going to Philly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find that right now.
It's a shame I moved here and didn't get a chance to see him.
That is. While we're waiting on that, this song has some riffs, dude. I really like this theme.
Yeah.
Guitar-wise, it kind of reminds me of like. You guys ever listen to Drive Like Jehu?
No.
Yes, check it out. That's an old band. It's a really old band. I think their seminal album came out in like 1992 or some shit like that. It's like 30 years old.
I did confirm. So Eve and Kasra were high school sweethearts.
Oh, that's so cute. What?
It's on their Spotify bio.
Oh, gotcha.
That's so dope. What?
They never
Why
said
didn't I know
anything.
that?
They didn't say anything about why they broke up, but that could be a possibility. That could be one possibility. But they were high school sweethearts.
No, I
That's
think
just
they have
speculation.
another project actually.
Oh, do that?
Cassie
Love
Crutch.
prevails.
Eve and Kasra started it.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I'll have to
Even
do that
Kasra
this
started a group called Kazi Krut. It doesn't say at least in my notes, it doesn't say when they formed it, but they played a string of shows. Their first shows were in Paris, France, Geneva, Switzerland, Strasbourg, France, and Lyon, France. Or Lyon, I don't know.
I think it's Leon.
Lyon.
Kind of interesting.
And that was in October 2019. They released a single in 2020, 2 singles in 2022, and then Palm disbanded in 2023, but Kazi Krut has not disbanded. They are still playing shows.
Oh,
That's dope.
alright.
You can follow their Insta. They post.
I'm gonna follow it right now.
I want to say that this guitar, a lot of the guitarists on this record, more than
Do
on.
you want to
this.
talk about Crank a little bit? That song that we just heard.
Maybe hit like halfway through the song.
Okay.
I feel like the guitar parts have this kind of 80s King Crimson vibe, like Discipline or Three of a Perfect Pair kind of vibe, where it's like it's repetitive, but it's in like a weird meter and like it's very chorus laden. I don't know. It's like
It's just
it's
so
ugly and pretty at the same time.
This is when I said it made me feel like I'm in a steel mill, like with those like really angular parts and like this like hammering like verse, you know. But this chorus like and so angelic and nice. I don't know. It's like it's that liminal space in between spaces, you know. It's like this. It's such a harsh like metallic tonality, like cantankerous, like, you know, factory like rhythms, you know. And it's like the vocals when they come in, they have such a nice way of giving you this like rock to hold on to, you know. It's so nice.
I think something else that you don't really notice from listening to it, but when I saw them live, is that Eve and Castro both do a lot of singing, and their voices sound really similar.
Oh, okay.
It's something that you don't. Now that I listen back, I can kind of tell which one is which. But when I first saw them, I didn't realize that they were two different singers. And so it's interesting how they sort of like layer their voices, like switch off from one another.
Yeah, because the next song, this song that's about to play, Ankles, Kazra starts, and he has that like that lyric line, "I don't need you any more than you need me," you know. And I'm pretty sure that's Kazra, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I'll listen to it.
I also really like the way that track ends, and I feel like a lot of
Yeah,
record end where they like they break it back down to
crashing out and like
yeah,
super
and
like
that's exactly the phrase I was gonna say. It
Yeah.
like crashes out entirely, and like You just get left with like the core idea for a split second, and then even that falls out, and that's how the song ends. It just like falls apart.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's that it's that jerk, it's that hypnotic like jerk that jerks you out of sleep. That like it has this like hypnosis to it, and then it like rips you out of it right at the end by like breaking it all apart. You know.
I love this fucking drum thing that he's doing right here. I like how he starts the drum with like a really pocket beat and then just like completely breaks it apart.
Forgets how to play drums mid-song.
This I feel like, okay, so Ankles I feel like is the first dose of math rock in this album. It's like the first like off time, like kind of like weird feeling like rhythm, you know? And I'm like, okay, this is like I can tell like they're getting some mathy vibes here. And this twinkly like you know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's five
almost sounds
here.
like Alarmist or like
that shit's cool.
Yeah, it's so
I like bass.
I feel like Paul really likes I don't know if that's a conscious decision from them. I feel like they really like to dwell in that 5 pocket, which I'm here for. I'm always down.
I love that. I feel like this song, I'm gonna keep referencing like a factory because I feel like it's so much like the instruments are like cogs, and in this song, it almost sounds like the cogs are like moving independently of each other, but like also in unison, you know? And they get like rusted or jammed up, and they like gotta get scraped and like reset and unstuck, you know? It's like, I don't know, it's like this angularness that's like that's very like artistically robotic or like artistically metallic, or like I don't know really what I'm trying to say, but like I don't know, they just play around with the tension and dissonance so much that I feel like the repetition of the angularity like doesn't get old because there's so much variation on that theme. Like whereas me and Ferris, we don't really like the repetition of like American Dawn as much as something like this because it becomes very interesting and it evolves and it's very progressive. In nature.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like this is more structured than American Dawn, even though American Dawn is also very structured, but this just feels more. This feels more like filled out, and it doesn't feel like American Dawn feels like random riff after random riff almost. This feels like very intentional.
I like the textures they play with a lot too. Kind of going back to that industrial steel mill vibe. Mm-hmm. It's almost got like a if you had to make a band out of only sci-fi movie science or sound effects. Like that's what this band is. Or this record more. Maybe not the whole band.
I'm really curious as to how their songwriting process, like how do you even convey the I'm just thinking about myself, so I would start with the guitar riff and I'm just like, okay, how do you convey the guitar? You can hear the guitar riff and you're like, all right, how do you convey like the idea of the song around this just like boom boom banana, boom boom banana, boom boom banana,
like stuttered arpeggio, like
yeah, it's crazy,
just like looped over and over. But they just, it's just
this
that like slow pick like rake over the strings, like it's just like
like how do you convey the idea of like, all right, so this is what I'm thinking. Or maybe they don't. I mean, it's because the drummer is a guitar player. Maybe he's like, oh, I got you, bro. Like, I totally understand. I understand the assignment.
You think they ever just did mushrooms and were like,
absolutely,
just roll tape, see whatever happens.
All the time.
All the time.
Probably.
Every day.
I love
This is an
playing with dissonance, but it's still melodic, you know?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about like some the atonality like about it. You know, the like what toe does, what pretend does, like all of this like really cool dissonance that's so beautiful. It's just so dynamic in so many cool ways. Especially the way they play with it, the way the dynamicism is expressed in the instrumentation and like the performance of the part. It sounds alive, like the whole it sounds like an experience, you know?
Yeah, I feel like this band takes it to way greater lengths in terms of playing with dissonance and angularity and things like that than any of the other bands we've talked about. Oh, there's the pocket. I agree though that like even though the textures are so lush and foreign and alien sounding, the record doesn't sound overproduced like at all.
Yeah, it does not.
I mean,
There's
like I
so
said,
much
as someone who's seen them, they sound exactly like this vibe. I mean, they could have been using like some backing tracks for like the extra noise stuff, but I don't think they were.
I don't think so. No,
Yeah,
it's probably
they looked
all
like they were actually playing.
pedalboard stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
Wizardry, pedalboard wizardry.
Pedalboard. They had a synth too,
very cool.
so yeah. Oh yeah.
Some mathy sections here too with these rhythms. That beautiful dissonance.
It's just like Palm is one of those bands that does simple things really well.
Yeah.
Like none of the riffs are technically crazy or not really using any like weird techniques or anything. It's just like really just focusing on like small fractions of riffs to build things.
And constantly evolving on that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they got us all bobbing our heads to like a 2 and a note sequence. And being like, what are they doing?
I feel like this album, in contrast to their other albums, as you were saying, Tone, has a lot more space. I feel like their later albums are much fuller. I feel like there's just like a lot, especially their last album, there's just like so much cacophony, like noises, and like all kinds of stuff going on. This feels more like there is like a lot of space between the instruments.
What track are we on? Are we
We are currently listening to You Are What Eats You.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, this is one of the more pocket parts of the whole record. Like this drum beat is
It's pretty
this
stable.
grooves, you know? Yeah. Stable
So-
is a good word.
Have we heard yet anybody's favorite track from this album?
Not yet. I'm kind of waiting for this run through to end to give my take on that one. Because I'm listening to these songs super critically now, and not only like I should have said I'm listening to these songs like not so critically now. So I'm just like actually like just vibing with them and like just like seeing how they feel.
Yeah. I remembered what my favorite song is, so we haven't heard it yet.
This one feels like a really, really nice like reprieve from what's been happening. Like they've done a lot of things. They've stretched, you know, they've like distorted, they've like, you know, sawed and cut and like hammered and, you know, done all these things, but in this song it kind of just grooves, you know. And it just feels like you're kind of breaking free of a lot of those chains and like you know, this song could be played like while you're driving down a highway, or you know, like I don't know. It's like it has a much different vibe. Like it's a very freeing vibe.
This song has I like that. Very much a post-rock vibe compared to the rest of the record.
But like in a Tay way.
Yeah, where you're building emotion and building emotion, and then releasing it.
Kind of reminds me of if you guys have ever listened to Tune Yards or Dirty Projectors. They kind of do the same sort of, not quite as experimental, but they do a lot of like the weird sound stuff, and they're also very poppy.
I would say they're definitely more poppy than.
Yeah, those two, yeah, for sure.
This song is called Egg in a Frame.
Again, a 5 feel.
You'll love to hear it.
Really do.
Yeah, again, I think the drums are the real main drivers of the weirdness of their songs. Because if you just listen to the riffs, it's just boom, 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 boom. It's like nothing.
It's also what they're
weird.
doing, like with the, you know, the performance of the guitar part and the pedals and stuff like that too. It's setting like this, like it's adding so many textures in my opinion. Like the guitars.
Yeah, I just mean in terms of like the riffs themselves aren't making like the timing or anything weird.
Sure.
Yeah. It's just right. It's very just like kind of straightforward, and then the drums are just like.
There's a lot of vibes on this record that they definitely stop exploring as they're just about to based on like I don't feel like you would ever hear like almost a D beat kind of groove going on in anything that comes out after this.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of like that was a little bit of like post-hardcore influence for a second, and that does not continue throughout the discography. So this is like proto-Palm, you know. There's less pedalboard wizardry. There's a little bit less weirdness on the drums. That makes it a good like introductory record for someone who hasn't heard this band.
Yeah. You can hear how their sound will eventually evolve from this record.
The DNA is there for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to take a second to let you guys know about our good friends at Taco Bell. They want you to know to live Moss. And they are not paying us to say this.
You got to get you a bitch that ain't afraid to go to Taco Bell.
Are you constipated? Have you not shit in days? Get a fucking Crunchwrap Supreme.
Yeah, do you need some
fucking
food
clean
to
you right out.
you out? To just turn your shit out?
Have you always wanted to shit liquid hot molten lava? Boy, do we have the food for you. Come on down to Taco Bell. Live Moss, you fucking bitch.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Sponsor
All right,
us,
thanks,
Taco
guys.
Bell.
This has like a fucking surf rock vibe to it. Like a little Beach Boys kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But it's like if Slint made like Beach Boy, or like, you know, it's like it's really dark, like almost sinister vibe, you know.
If Beach Boys wanted to scare the hoes.
True.
Although some of their shit is
some of the shit
sidebar. Yeah. Beach Boys shit is fucking weird.
Some of those deep cuts are a little spooky.
For sure.
That was kind of an interesting ending.
again, just kind of crashing out, just kind of like and we've run out of gas. That's how the song ends.
Yeah,
But
which is cool in an intentional way, not
it's
in like a
artistic
lazy
in a really
way.
cool way. Yeah.
Yeah.
so are we on child actor?
I believe so.
Yes. The song is Child Actor, track 7.
This is where they
more-
really start to get ugly, get angular, get like decisively
If the
uncomfortable.
album hasn't already been angular enough, track 7 will get you there.
Yeah. If you like the angular dissonance kind of thing, for sure.
But then the lyrics come in,
part's
and
weird.
again, it's a melody to hold on to. You know, it's a melody to follow. You're like, oh, there's like a
I
story
love-
being told here. You know,
This kind of reminds me of. Oh, go ahead.
All right, I'll take this one because I gave you the last one. I love their use of like really long sustained vocal notes. Like every phrase ends on like a tied 2 whole
Whole
notes.
note,
You know,
yeah.
like
Mhm.
yeah. It's such a unique little quirk that I don't, because they're not vibrato. There's no like change in the tone of voice. It's just the note, which is just so weird.
This fucking riff, dude.
This shit reminds me of like Yowie or like fucking Gorilla Toss or something.
Gorilla Toss, yeah, Gorilla Toss. Yeah. Or kind of like maybe sometimes Paranoid Void.
Definitely.
Like yeah.
and then
And then you
all of a
come out the
sudden
end of the
it's King
tunnel.
Crimson, like lush ballad.
That's a good one. King Crimson. That's very King Crimson-y. I feel like this reminds me of the few times I've ever listened
that
to like
bass
weird
line.
underground like European music from like the 80s.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, that like weird sort of like electronic.
and that
like,
flanger on the
techno-y
voice
shit.
too. That like warbly whatever vocal effect is happening. Just so reminiscent of that. It's hypnagogic in a way.
We're like convincing ourselves to agree to the label. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Well, everything
I-
is a reference to something else in a certain degree.
That's a good point. I like that you mentioned the vocal processing stuff, because I feel like not a lot of bands do it as like it's a staple in this band's sound. It's not like an unusual thing for one song or anything. It is like something they stuck with across their discography.
Yeah.
This sounds like fucking Slant for sure.
Dude, that fucking bass line. Oh my god. That was
All right,
just
so-
at the end. It didn't even give us a repeat.
No,
I have to go back. I'm sorry.
they just give you a taste.
Yeah, that's how the song ends.
Wait.
Just banner.
God. They know how to make some lush fucking soundscapes, dude. Holy fuck.
And then they just take you right back to hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the end of it.
Then it's just dissonant angularity. Back to the factory, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you just got a kiss from the wife on your way to work in the steel mill.
Yeah, exactly. This 8th track, Second Ward. Definitely starts on a happier note than most of the other tracks.
Again, kind of a vibe they don't really explore after this record. This kind of like upbeat, D-beat,
Yeah.
almost pop punky for a second.
Whoa.
And then
And
This
then
riff is cool.
right into fucking Spangle-esque, like, fucking vocals and, like, tom fills and, you know, like... It's so crazy. It's very psychedelic in a way, for sure.
also just want to point out it's in 5 again.
Just want to point that out there, in case you were keeping track.
Bob lives at 5. because
I
there's
checked
5
my
fingers on a hand.
calculator.
That's a good transition.
Oh, that bass line.
I feel like not a lot of bands can do what Palm does so well, which is have these crazy contrasts and juxtapositions, but it always sounds like them. Like, it doesn't sound like
anybody else.
Yeah.
I know we can hearken it to other things and compare it to other things, but it does not sound like, oh, this is just a ripoff from some other band.
And here's the theme. They go back to the theme. Remember the variation? Da 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 da. That tied whole note, you know.
Yeah.
And there's your melody. You can grab onto that and feel safe when it comes back, you know. But now we're exploring, and it's mischievous and dark and sinister, and it's brewing and it's whirling and it's hypnotizing, you know. I love how each song has a similar vibe, but does so much in that vibe that's so unique. It's so cool.
Yeah, I feel like we talk a lot about narrative building, and Palm is so fucking good at that.
I feel like this album really, it like progresses. I feel like it becomes more and more complicated, and it sort of like opens up more and more as the album continues on. It becomes more intense.
Yeah, it gets more focused in a way.
The track are we on?
We're just finished Second Ward. Now we're on Drawn Straws, which is a transition song into Garden. And Garden, I heard, was very mathy.
Garden is my favorite song.
I think it's my favorite song too. I have a couple that we can get to.
This whole album is incredible, and I feel like no single song on this album should be experienced by itself. I
could agree with that.
I think you should, if you're gonna listen to any song on this album, you should listen to it all the way through, from the song that, you know, came before it, you know, before that, you know, into the songs after it, because there's some albums that you really don't get that impact unless you listen to the context of what it came from. And I feel like Palm is unique enough to kind of have that devotion from its, you know, followers to like listen to the whole thing through, you know, even if they just want to listen to one song. Like, there's plenty of albums that I do that for. Like, when I hear a Pretend song on shuffle, or when I hear a Between the Buried and Me song on shuffle, like, I'll have to listen to the whole album through, or, you know, something like that. Like,
context is key for sure with this record. I feel like they kind of worked on the craft of making a single on their next full length a little more. Like, there's some songs on that record that you can listen to as like a single and still enjoy it in its entirety. I agree with you about this record though. It's like, it's much better of an experience all the way through instead of just getting like a little fragment of it. Although there are exciting parts, you know, to it.
Definitely.
Standalone.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's.
Go ahead, Ferris.
I was just gonna say, it's interesting that you say that, how they like kind of perfected the craft of the single, because I feel like their following albums are more cohesive in terms of like style and just like sonically, like all the songs kind of like speak to each other. But I do feel like this album is more of like, it needs to be listened to together, and I don't feel the same way about their other albums. So it's just kind of an interesting contrast.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. They definitely, in their later works, develop a very specific core sound that they adhere to pretty strictly, and there's less variance in like little subgenre play, but you are able to listen to it more standalone, track by track.
Yeah.
Back to 5, by the way. Oh, not there though.
Oh, always, bro.
It's so interesting how he took that like really psychedelic like vocal line into this, and then it like bails out into this super pretty like pretend like instrumentation that's like super twinkly and like building and like post rock kind of, but also twinkly and mathy.
They can do it all, baby. They can do it all.
This section is beautiful. Then right back to that like that vocal line, that just those long whole notes, and man, this is one band that I feel like with those long notes, they're not doing it because the instrumentation is so hard to play that they can't do a more complex thing. No, it is like that's just like the vibe is like to have these.
That's what works.
Yeah, that's what works. Exactly. That's what works with the instrumentation. It's simple. Yeah.
I agree. It's very intentional. It's not like you said, I can't sing while I play this, because the guitar parts are not generally super technical. They're weird, but not technical. It's just what it's. Palm is. I just thought about this. Palm is just biblically accurate math rock. That's what's happening.
Biblically accurate.
We need to come
This
up
is
with
what
a
Jesus
new.
listened to.
Yeah, we need to come up with a new alignment chart, like biblically, or like secular math rock, biblical math rock, and like chaotic, and then like neutral.
This band is in the top right
Biblically
corner,
accurate.
or top left corner. Biblically accurate as fuck.
This is a
What
great
are our
idea.
metrics?
We need to do
Biblical, pagan,
an app on
chaotic.
Pagan and secular. Yeah,
pagan, secular, and biblical.
Hold on, let me see if I can find that grid.
It definitely
This song
feels like I'm on a holy journey for sure.
I was gonna say it feels, harkening back to what you said before, it feels liminal, but like from the plane of life to the afterlife on this track. Like it feels
it's
like
that
I'm
transition.
entering heaven's
It's
gates.
literally but it's not that the liminal space can't be a journey, because it's all full of twists and turns, especially in this album.
Yeah.
I love how this song evolves.
This is one of the more pocket songs overall on the record too.
Sure. Similar to You Are What Eats You.
Definitely.
But this is just so much more like grand, you know, in a way, in composition, in my opinion. That's all we get from Garden.
Fucking gorgeous. Really like that
no
song.
crash out on that one. That one was just it just stopped. It just ceased like a machine.
They're not a one-trick pony. I like that about them.
Drum intro almost sounds like Japanese math rock.
Yeah, definitely. So like tension building rhythmically.
This is the last song on the album called Scribe.
One of the few examples of vocal harmony.
Oh yeah.
It's usually trading vocals.
There are
Or
some
unison.
parts, yeah, where there are layers, but yeah, it mainly is sparse vocal lines, like by themselves, pretty isolated. It adds to that feeling of isolation, in my opinion. But on this, there is like layers and there's unison, you know, and it feels, or there's a harmony, I should say, and there's it feels almost like looking at this song as the outro, looking at this song as the end cap of the album. It feels reflective in a way. It feels like they're learning from like everything that happened, and it's like the final, like almost trek, the final, like the home stretch, you know? And it feels, like I said, some of their songs feel freeing in a ways. A lot of their songs feel angular and dissonant and twisting and hypnotic, but like some of their songs feel like freeing, like that song You Are What Eats You, and like has this like really interesting like groove. And I feel like Scribe is very similar to that, in that this song is like it's taking you somewhere, but it's also like implying where it's like you know where it's going, like there's a finish point. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's just taking you there. It's bringing you to the end, you know. That's what I feel like the instrumentation feels like, at least to me, my interpretation.
All right, I'm gonna make us a chart, a graph chart.
Yes.
And we're gonna start putting all of so the metrics are, it's one of those X, Y axis
yeah. The alignment charts.
All right, yeah. So the metrics are biblical,
yes,
pagan on one side, and then it's entropy and negentropy on the bottom. Negentropy is just the opposite of entropy.
Okay.
So it's like order instead of chaos.
Yeah, structure and chaos. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So now that we're close to the end of the album, everybody's favorite song. I think I'm still going with Garden.
Garden is incredible.
I don't know if I can whittle it down to one. I've got a couple. Garden is up there. I think You Are What Eats You is up there.
You Are What Eats You is like a completely like different vibe. It like it's cool in its own way. Just for like I would say like it's like a cruising vibe to me, in my opinion.
Is it Ankles that has the really grabby vocal line? I don't need you
Yeah, I was
anymore.
gonna say I was gonna mention that one. Yep.
I think those might be my top three.
Yeah,
but
Ankles
again, this
was
album's hard to
really
like
cool.
pick track by track because there's so much continuity.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I have a hard time picking individual songs.
Yeah, if it wasn't Garden, it might have been Ankles, because it kind of like. It like Crank was like this like really cool intro to this like really angular album, and I felt like Ankles kind of hooked you in with like more melody, so that was really cool for me. And then Garden is obviously just insanely beautiful, like those pretend-esque passages, like, you know, it's just I just die for stuff like that. I just love stuff like that. You know, it's just so much emotion and so much beautiful melodies playing around with like not even in key, you know, atonal like dissonant stuff. You know, it's like it's so cool how those two things, who are often on such opposite spectrums, like are so beautifully intertwined in this album. And that's why I feel like I can't really pick a favorite. For me, if I had to pick, I probably would say Garden, but I just say listen to this whole album, you know.
So, as with every episode, we have our Is It Math Rock rankings. Rate the album using your 3 metrics.
Mm-hmm. So,
okay.
Austin, you can go first.
Okay. I feel like, well, I'll start with just personal feelings towards the record. I really like this record. It is not my favorite Palm record, and that's not a diss. It's just they have a really good discography. I don't think they have any misses for me. But just kind of ranking it with my own personal opinion and kind of where it stands within their discography, It's like a 7.5 in that respect. Mathiness, I think this record is super mathy. I mean, it is disjointed, it is starty stoppy, it's odd times, it's changing times, it is like it's texture. There's lots of different guitar, like there's not crazy technical, but they do employ a lot of techniques. It's very percussive with the guitars, so it's like 10 in the mathiness kind of scale. So we have personal opinion, mathiness. I always forget what's the third one.
The context.
I just go with those two.
Yeah, you covered it.
Yeah, the context.
Oh, I just kind of joined those two together.
Yeah.
So
it's personal and context.
Okay, so I feel like if I'm just averaging in my mind a total score, I'm kind of just going gut feelings here. So this is like an 8.5 record for me. Like, do mushrooms, but have someone that makes you feel really safe nearby, and listen to this whole album, because it's gonna take you on a fucking journey. You're gonna see God, and probably the devil.
It feels like a holy journey, you know. It has these really cool psychedelic. I referenced Spongle, but obviously not really even close. But these really like awesome, extended, elongated vocal phrases that like kind of push and pull and wane and wax and kind of like add something to hold on to. And something that guides you through each song. The guitars just add so much texture and irregularity, and that's what really plays into the mathiness for me. The guitars and their play, the lead and rhythm and drums, their play, and then a lot of the melody for me I heard was in vocals and bass. I loved those two, like really holding it down so much for me. Something I love in math rock is a melodic bass line.
Definitely, I'm with you on that.
Almost
what's your
like a Piglet in a way. Oh yeah.
What's your numbers? Yeah, give me your numbers, baby.
My personal rating for this album would probably be Actually, let me save personal. The context of the album within the artist's discography, I'm not super familiar with Palm, but from what I've heard, this album is wholly unique in itself, and I feel like should be recognized as such. I give it a very, very high score. Like for me, it's like a 9 out of their discography. It's their debut, right?
Yeah.
And it's just insane. It's like listening to the Mid-Air Thief artist. What's his name? I forget what artist name he started with first, but it eventually became Mid-Air Thief and then something else, I believe. But like just producing something that high quality in your first iteration is something that should not be overlooked, and I feel like the context within all the others, even if all the others are like 9s, that would still make sense, you know, within like making something wholly unique, you know. So I feel like that album is really what gets me there. The mathiness rating, I also agree with you. A lot of math elements in this album, and also intertwining different genres, which is something that math rock does a lot. So for me, mathiness is like another 9 or 9.5, you know. It's like it is incredibly mathy. It's not mathy in the way that like Invalids or the Bulletproof Tiger is mathy or like really fast or technical or something like that. So it's not going to get like an insane score from me like that, like a 10 or like a, you know, anything crazy. But I think like a 8.5, a 9, 9.5, I think anywhere around there is like reasonable. 9 probably. Personal rating, man, this album has affected me a lot more today in my listening experience than it has in all the previous other ones. Like I feel like I've really been able to digest what we were listening to, and I don't know, it's definitely each time I listen to it, I like it more and more. It started off as like a 6. The second time I listened to it as like an 8. Now it's like a 9 for me. Like I don't know. For me, I guess my overall is a 9. just based on those scores. But this album, I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes like one of my favorites, like just from listening to it more and digesting overall what everything that they do within the album.
A lot of high scores. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think in context, I agree with Austin. Not my favorite Palm record, but it's also just like a great record. It's just their other records are like somehow better than this record.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah, somehow better. So I would say 8 personal, just based off of context. After Rock, I would go, I would say like a 9. Like pretty mathy, weird time signatures, starting and stopping, changes a lot. Just like weird and angular. And then my personal score, I'd probably say an 8. Like, it's not an album that I would want to put on a lot. But I would enjoy just like listening to it over and over again. I just like some of their other albums more. I like when they like the way their sound progressed. I really like that more. I feel like this is just kind of like the infant stage of what is to come later. But yeah, so that's like what overall 8.5, a 9, like an 8.5.
What'd you give it, Austin? Overall, your 3 scores combined?
8.5.
8.5. Okay, so it'd be 8.75 with all 3 of us combined.
That's a high score. We're pretty picky.
Wait, no, Ferris was an 8, right?
8.5.
8.5. Okay, so yeah,
8.5.
Yeah.
We should probably include the scaring the hose metric on this record, of which it probably scores a 9. It's not something you should play around a girl you like unless she is also really fucking weird.
Yeah,
which is
scaring the hose. Scaring the hose measurement.
Yeah,
how much does it scare the hose? What would you say out of 10? How much would it scare the hose?
I'm giving it a 9, and that's it.
9?
Yeah. I'd say, no, there's much scarier you can play. I'd say
Hella's like a 9.
I'd say this is like a 7.5.
I would say it's like
7.
What is it like past
4.
5? There is no sexual activity. Under 5,
yeah.
It's like we can work with this. You know?
I think it's a 4. I think it's a 4.
A 4?
I think it's a 4.
What?
I think you could play this at a party. Just not very loudly.
You could fuck
it
to
be
this,
super
Ferris?
loud. Well, scaring the hose and fucking to it. I think I could fuck to it. Yeah. There'd be some parts where I'd be like, oh, this is weird.
It's over that.
You guys not real fuckers like.
I could not maintain concentration.
I could do it to like Death Grips. I don't think I could do it to this.
Seen footage.
I think Death Grips is like a 7 or an 8. I'm scared.
You're tripping, dude.
7 or an 8.
What?
Death Grips.
7 or an 8.
The mainstream has popularized Death Grips. I don't know.
Death Grips. See, I think Death Grips is higher on the scare and the hose thing because like this song, it's got like some weird sounds in it. But like, if a girl doesn't like yelling, they're not gonna like. It doesn't matter. Like, they're not gonna like Death Grips. Like, because all he does is yell.
Yeah.
He's just like. Like this is just like there's like
I'd agree with
in it.
Death Grips is like a 9 or an 8. Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. See, like, yeah, true. If they don't like yelling, they won't like Death Grips. But like, I can see this band giving someone a stomach ache. Like, it is uncomfortable. It is disjointed. There's some parts that like, if you don't like weird music at all, you don't know what's happening. Where at least with Death Grips, it's like a consistent pulse, and you could theoretically dance to it.
I feel like anyone who likes Radiohead could tolerate Palm, but I feel like a lot of people who like Radiohead probably could not like Death Grips very easily.
All right, so this is where we all.
But I also don't like Death Grips, so.
I don't know, man. I don't know. So this is where we all differ in our opinion about this record: is how scary it is, which is
very scary. I don't think it's scary.
I think it's kind of scary.
Do you think a girl would rather bang to Palm, or I close my eyes and beat it? Fucking, like you put that shit on, she's like, what the fuck are you listening to?
We got to do a poll. Chat, what do you think? Would you
How
rather
many
fuck the
times
palm
have
or
you
death grips?
fucked? How many times have you fucked to death grips? Or probably not a lot to Palm, because I feel like Palm has a smaller audience.
Who be fucking? In comment below.
Next time you have sex, don't say anything. Just put on
Immediately.
Palm, and then the next time put on death grips. And how far does it get?
And then come to this video and report back.
Report back. Was your hoe scared?
Man.
Were you
bang? Scared?
Were you scared? Were you able to maintain a constant erection to the sounds of Palm or death grips?
Oh, we got to get a final plug in too. Make sure before you do any of that, you enjoy a beefy 5-layer burrito from Taco Bell.
True.
So that you can shit liquid hot molten lava in the bathroom to make sure that it's also uncomfortable in the room smell wise before you go ahead and put on Palm.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you play death grips when you're shitting.
Liquid hot magma will spew from your anus.
Nothing gets me going like a beefy 5-layer, baby.
Brought to you by BetMGM and the Locked On Math Rock Network.
The Athletic Math Rock Show.
Factor Meals has sponsored this podcast.
The only losers in gambling are the people who stop gambling. So if you lost yesterday, fucking try again today.
You're just one win away,
Today's a
baby.
new day. Yeah.
Every
gambler that quit was just one more spin, one more play away.
The only alcohol problem I have is that I don't have more alcohol.
Yeah, I don't have enough boys to drink with.
Drinking problems are for people who don't have a drink. I have one.
Fellas, I think we did it. I think we did it.
Cerveza Cristal.
Wait, let's just make sure that chat knows that we fucking did it. 2 thumbs up, America.
There's fucking Palms Trading Basics. We love the album. It's great.
We love the record.
An 8.75 out of 10.
It's
good.
Really good.
We like them.
It's really good.
If you want to...
I wonder if we'll ever get anything above a 9.
Comment the video. Thumbs up. Subscribe. We love that shit. I own a fucking studio. If you want to send me shit to master or mix, I'd love that too. Interact with us, you know? We love to see your faces. We did this video based on somebody's comment, so fucking put an album out there. We'll fucking do a video on it.
Do a video.
Eventually.
In due time.
It took us a while. It took us a while to do this video because we're fucking
It's not
stupid.
because we didn't want to do it. Is because it's hard
don't know.
to do things. We don't know why.
It's kind of weird because we actually planned this video out a long time ago. And then I think we just kind of forgot about it for a while.
Oh, we put it on the back burner.
Toe dropped a record, so we kind of had to address that. That was important.
It was the elephant
to get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had to strike while the iron is hot,
so to speak.
Yes,
if you will.
Sure. All right. Thank you, y'all. We'll see you next time on the Math Rock Review. There it is. Goodbye.
Wait.
See
hold
y'all.
on.
Goodbye.
No. Hold on. It's not ready.
Goodbye
come
now.
Back to me.
We're leaving.
I've lost
it's gonna fade out. The video's
this
gonna
is so
leave.
sad.
No, it's not gonna.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's fading out. Goodbye. It's fading out. Bye.